Good evening, everyone. So here I am here there to present a topic on bees as pollinators of our crop. So these, yeah. So pollination plays a very vital role in maintaining the natural balance of the ecosystem and is the cornerstone of crop production. So what is pollination? So the plants are self-pollinated and cross-pollinated. Self-pollinated plants doesn't require agents for the pollination process, but cross-pollination pollinated crops, they require an agent to carry the pollens from the one plant to the another plant, and thus the for fertilization and seed set. So this pollination plays a very significant role in the agriculture sector and serves as a basis for crop production. So all these cultivated plants are typically pollinated by the animals. So one or the other animals will be involved in pollination of these crops. So this animal-based pollination contributes to 30% of the global food productions. So coming to the agents, the agents which are involved in transferring the pollen from one plant to the other plant, those are called as pollinators. And these pollinators are very important key players of the crop yield process, since the plants are completely rely on these vectors for the transfer of pollen from one plant to the another plant, and thus they are involved in cross pollinations. So the vectors can be water, wind, or the other animal pollinators like bats, birds, butterflies, horflies, wasps, thrips, and the other animals, and the bees. And these pollinators, they also contribute to our food security. So as I was discussing, these pollinators are very diverse. So you see insect pollinators, bats, birds, other small mammals, they are involved in pollination. So these pollinators are very diverse. So coming to the benefits we get from the pollinators. So more than 75% of our leading crops, they are getting pollinated by the pollinators, and almost 90% of the world's flowering plants, they require some one or the other kind of animals for the pollination. So at least in part on the animal pollination. So global agriculture is increasingly reliant on these pollinators. So since 1961, there is an increase in 300% increase in the volume of the agricultural production, which is depending on the pollinators. So there is a huge demand. So coming to the economic value, so market value of the this is also related to the pollination. So annual market value linked to pollinator is 235 to 577 billion US dollars. So there is a great demand. So coming to the human diet, animal pollinated crops are a major source of vitamins and minerals. So when it comes to the health also, pollination dependent crop, they are very important because they are a source of vitamins and minerals. Thus, the animal pollinators, they contribute to the food production. Nearly 87 global crops, they depend on the pollinators for the fertilizations. Then, according to bee experts at Food and Agricultural Organization (FAO), United States, they say a third of the world's food production is depending on the bees. So we'll start talk on bees. So bees are very important because, as the FAO said, one third part, so third of the world's food production depends on the bees, and these bees are considered as significant pollinators due to their effectiveness and wide adaptability, and they are also an excellent insects. So because they increase the crop quality and quantity of the uh, crop production. So we in this session we'll discuss the role of bee in pollination and their economic importance and the types of bees which are there, which are associated with the pollination. So we'll discuss on bee. So when we are talking about the bee, so this insect will come to your mind, and because we get a lot of products from the bee. So we'll get honey, we'll get pollen, we'll get royal jelly, we'll get propolis, we'll get venom, and the bee wax. So these are the products we get from the bee. So when we talk about the bee, generally the honey bee will come to our mind, but this is not the only bee species available. There are more than 21,000 different species of the bees They are recognized throughout the world, and these species have been placed in 25 genera under 22 subfamilies and 6 families. So honeybee is not the only bee. There are 21 different species of the bees they are recognized throughout the world. So these are all the bees you can get at your backyard. So there are different kinds of bees, but we only concentrate main on the honeybees because from honeybee we also get the other products apart from the pollination. But we mainly here ignoring, we are looking at the products, but we are ignoring the major contribution of the bee, that is the pollination service. So this is the typical body of a bee or a honeybee. So this insects will be having 3 legs, 2 pairs of wings, a head, antennae, all those things are typical. It's a typical honeybee. So we'll discuss. So we know there are more than 21 different species of the bees. So we'll discuss what are all these bees, what their role have in the crop production. So the crop dependency varies because wheat, rice, and cassava, all those such crops that doesn't need pollination by the bees or the other insects, but mostly vegetables and fruits, they require pollination by the bees or the other animals. Then we'll discuss how many types of bees are there and the role as pollinators. So here we'll go one by one. So the first kind of bees are honeybees, and these honeybees are considered as very significant pollinators due to their effectiveness and wide adaptability. So in 2009, it was estimated that honeybees contributed to 11 billion US dollars to agriculture in the USA. And the many countries have used honeybees and achieved great success in terms of increasing the crop uh, yield and quality. So when coming to the number of species of the honeybees, so there are 9 species of honeybees are there in the world. But in India, we'll get to see the 5 to 6 species of honeybees. And in South India, we get this rock bee, Apis dorsata, the Indian bee, Apis cerana, the little bee, Apis florea, and the introduced one, the European or little bee, so this Apis mellifera, and the dammer bee or stingless bee, that also we have in India. So this European or Italian bee, Apis mellifera, was introduced from European country because of high yielding honey, that quality. Because of that, they have introduced this Apis mellifera from the Europe. Then these honeybees, they're distributed everywhere. In each and every part of the globe, we have these honeybees. So the red map, what you are seeing is the species which is Apis mellifera. And most of these species there, you can find them in Asia because Asia is the center of origin of these honeybees. So coming to the rock bee, so this is called as Apis dorsata, and they are very gained bees. They are found all over the India and mainly in the sub-mountainous regions up to an altitude of 2,700 meters. So they construct their nest at the high altitude places, and they construct a single comb in open places. So you can see a single comb in this places. And the very important character of this is they used to shift very often. They shift the place of the colony very often. And these rock bees are very ferocious, and they are not used in domestication. So we are not using these Apis dorsata in rearing. So they produce nearly 36 kgs of honey per comb per year. And these are the one of the largest species of the honeybee. Then the other bee is little bee, Apis florea. We call it little bee because this is smaller in size. And they build single vertical combs, but it looks like a ball-shaped comb. And they also construct combs in the branches of bushes, hedges, buildings, caves, and empty places. And they produce a very little honey, to about half a kg of honey per year per hive we are getting. And they are also not used in domestication because they also have the habit of changing their place very frequently. And these are the very smaller species which we can see throughout the India. The other species of Indian hive bee or Asian bee. So this is Apis cerana, and they are domesticated one species one. And whatever we are using in apiculture is this species, Apis cerana species. They construct a multiple parallel combs like this. So this is the one which you can see, not like Apis florea or dorsata. They construct multiple combs, and this is one of the largest species of the honeybee. where we can, this bee is usually domesticated. The other one is European bee or Italian bee, Apis mellifera. So they are also similar to have similar to Apis cerana, Indian bee. But this species we have got it from European countries because of their high yielding, high honey yielding quality. And this is not very common in India, and it is established in some places in Himachal Pradesh and Bangalore. In some few places, the people have imported this species and they have established APLs. And this one, why these honeybees are good pollinators? Because of the special characters of this honeybee, they are acting as good pollinators. One such character is structural adaptations. So there are some modifications on the body of the bees where they can carry.
Hello. 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 Madam, we lost your audio. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Carry the pollen. So this is the hind leg of the bee is having.
Hello.
This is not audible.
Now it is audible, ma'am. Can you please share your screen? We lost your audio for last 1 minute.
Okay.
Please share your screen.
Yeah, floral fidelity. So here the bees will frequently come to the flower until the resources get exhausted. So if it is coming to a sunflower field, so it is coming regular to that field only. So by this, we can ensure the crop pollination of the sunflower. So they are very honest when doing the pollination. So the next is they need nectar and pollen, because nectar and pollen is the rich source of protein and sugar. And these honeybees, they require the nectar and pollen for feeding, for their young ones. So they also feed on the nectar and pollen, and they store the honey and pollen for the further use, because they have to feed regularly to their offspring. So this is the need, so that they will come regularly to the crop. So these bees are very hardworking. So Apis dorsata, they start foraging from the 5 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the evening. So usually they make thousands of trips to the field to collect the nectar and pollen. So in that process, they also pollinate several plants and crops, and the wide adaptability of different climatic conditions. So the different species of the honeybees, they are adapted very differently to the different climatic conditions, and we can use these bees for pollinations. The next bee is the bumblebee. These bumblebees are also vital pollinators for agricultural and other wild plants. And there are few species of the bees, they are used for pollination of the commercial crop. For example, Bombus terrestris.
Hello.
These are few species, Bombus terrestris, which is used in Europe, North Africa, Asia, and Australian countries. B. occidentalis. So this is a different species of the bumblebee which they are using in North America. There are a few species of the bees which they have been used in the crop production. So these bees are very important pollinators of diverse range of crops, because they do buzz pollination. Buzz pollinations means in few of the crops, the pollen, they are hidden inside. So they have to be opened up through the by the bees. So that buzz pollination is possible by the bumblebees. So that's why they are very important. So for example, blueberries and tomato, they require buzz pollination. So they have to be opened up by the bees. So small and large flowers can also be pollinated by these bumblebees. And these bumblebees, they are using in open fields and also in the greenhouses because of their special quality called buzz pollinations. So these bumblebees in India, they are using in Himalayan belt. So where they are using it for open fields and greenhouse conditions. The other group is stingless bees. So it is also called as jammer bee. So this is also social group like honeybees. So these stingless bees are very small species which looks like a mosquito. And these are also social bees which live in colony, and they also make the good pollinators. And these bees are much smaller than the true honeybees, and they build a regular combs of wax and resin, not like our honeybee, but they have a different kind of uh, combs. So they will be building their combs in cracks and crevices of the trees, tree trunks. And these stingless bees are called stingless bees because they don't have the sting, and they bite their enemies or the intruders. So it is domestic. It is also, this species is also domesticated. So these stingless bees, they don't have sting. Instead, they bite their enemies. And the physiology of these stingless bees is suitable for flower to get pollination. So they have suitable structures for collecting the pollen and nectar. They also have the pollen basket and absence of stinging behavior. So stinging behavior is not there. So that's why they are very uh, good. So we can use them for pollination or domestication. So they're making them easier to handle than the majority of the honeybees. So with the honeybees, we have the fear of a sting, but in this case, we don't have that the stinging behavior. So they also have the pollen basket. And because of the absence of the stinging behavior, these are also suitable to it is easy to handle them for majority of the pollinations. Some of the stingless bees, such as those in the Melipona, they exhibit some typical behavior called vibration behavior to extract the pollen. So the some of the hidden pollen to extract them. So they do this vibration behavior. So this is especially you can see in tomato and pepper. So where the other honeybees are not helpful. So in such cases, we can use stingless bees. So why we should use these stingless bees for pollination is they're similar to honeybees. They also have the floral constancy coming to the same plot again and again and ensuring the pollination. And we can also domesticate them because they are very easy to handle and they are not they will be settling in the colony for long, and they're perennial colonies. So these perennial means for a very long period we can maintain these colonies, and they're active throughout the year. So they are active throughout the year. So the large storage of food and pollen and nectar is needed. So for that they'll go to crop and they collect the pollen and nectar. So they also adapted to wide range of climatic conditions. And one more important thing is they have limited foraging distance. So they are most suitable for use in greenhouse conditions. So these are the few qualities of the stingless bees. Some of the crops pollinated by stingless bees are banana, coffee, gingerly, papaya, maize, brinjal, so sunflower, coriander, cardamom. So there is a huge list where mango, coconut, lab, gooseberry, strawberry. So these are the few crops where we can use stingless bees for pollinations. Then the other group of bees are carpenter bees. So they look like bumblebees, but these bees are available in all parts of India, but the bumblebees are available only in the Himalayan belt. So they are also larger like bumblebees, and these are black colored bees, which are a group which occur in tropical and subtropical areas of the country. And in India, the carpenter bees are active throughout the year and they forage a wide variety of the flowers during the day and sometimes during the night also. So they are visiting beans, mainly beans and such sunflower and other crops. And they also have the habit of this buzz pollination, which is making them more suitable for the crop pollination. Then the other rest of the bees, they are solitary bees. Solitary because they are not living in colonies like honeybees or other bees. And most of the bees are solitary bees. The solitary bees, they account for 85% of all the bee species. So we only know honeybees, but where there are different colored beautiful bees are there, and they are making much part of the honeybee species. So 85% of all the species are the solitary bees. They are not living in colony. Either they are living in the soil or in the they make their nest in the wood or in the cracks and crevices of the loft and other things. And these live in single, not like honeybees. They are not living in colony. So these solitary bees are important pollinators other than the honeybee. So and some of the crops such as apple, they mainly depend on solitary bees rather than the honeybees. So the service of these solitary bees have not been recognized to the fullest. So some of the factors which influence the bee visitation to the flower is, and the bees, they decide based on the flower color, flower structure and the shape, the flower odor, the scent of the flower, and the nectar and pollen availability. So the small bees will go to the small flowers. The flower with the large corolla will be pollinated by the bees with the large tongue. So like that. So all these factors will be influencing the visitation by the bees. So the flower color is very important. Some of the bees will go to a particular flower color, flower shape, based on their tongue size, tongue length. They decide the flower. So these are the few factors which influence the bee visitation to the flowers. Then coming to the most important part, the impact of the bee pollination on crop yield and productivity. So in various countries, including India. So here what we are discussing is, so the crop which are very important and the bee pollinators, very important bee pollinators on that crop. So there are several studies where they have seen how many species the bees they are visiting different crops. So for example, apple. So this apple is visited by honeybees, wild bees like the solitary bees, stingless bees, and bumblebees. So they have analyzed the importance of these pollinators in the apple. So for example, honeybees enhance the fruit production with high yield and also the quality. So next is the wild bee. So seed number increased with bee abundance. So the number of the seed will also be increased. Stingless bees. So both stingless bees and Africanized bees, they provide a high seed production and fruit production than the supplementation with the other bees alone. Sometimes some different species of the bees will visit and they increase the yield and the quality and the number of the seeds also. So these are the studies, different studies at different part of the different countries. They have looked at the which species is visiting and the impact of the visitation by either honeybees and the other bees. Similarly, on the coconut, honeybee visitation can increase the fruit set and which can be compared with the other so other pollinators. So similarly, watermelon. Then there are almond. So these are also visited by honeybees and solitary bees. So by visitation by the honeybees, there is increased food set by the 60% and the kernel yield 20% compared to the self-pollination. So this is the in case of almond. Avocado also, they have seen high pollination efficiency and fruit set increase, passion fruit, citrus. Majorly these vegetables and fruits, and they require pollinations. Either it can be a honeybee or the other wild bee. Guava also, honeybee, they can increase the fruit set. Mango also, they can be increased in the fruit set because of the visitation by the bees. Strawberry. So there is a huge list of the fruits visited by the bees and the other the solitary bees, where you can see the increase in the fruit production, quality, and the number of seed, increase in the number of seed. So sweet pepper, here where we get bumblebees. So this is from the North India, where they can see increase in the fruit weight, width, and volume. The quality and yield was more when it is visited by the bumblebee. And tomato, similarly, tomato, different species of the bee visit, and you can see the improvement in the yield and the quality. So it's sunflower also, wild bees and honeybees, Africanized bees, and coriander, apis cerana. So all this increase in the weight of the fruit, quality of the fruit. So this is like increasing the productivity. So these are the few crops visited by the bees. So you can see the potential of benefits of due to bee pollination in few of the crops. So some of the apple varieties show 180 to 6,000% increase in the yield. So we can see a number of species and the percent increase in the yield because of the visitation by the bees. So similarly, we'll get this oil seed also, legumes. So mustard, rye, rape, soya, sarsen, safflower, sunflower. So here we require bee pollination. Similarly, legume, only we require alpha, broad beans. So most of the beans they require here mainly xylocopa and other species will come. So one of the other oil seeds, legumes, fruits, crop, they require pollination, and then you can see increase in the yield to several times because of the bee pollination. So apart of this increase in the yield and quality, we can also use these bees for seed production. So in some of the crops, they use these bees instead of hand pollination. They go for using the bees in pollination. So there also you can see increase in the yield of the seeds. So one thing is when you're talking about the quality, so cross pollination by insects and self pollination by wind. So you can look at the difference in the size and the quality of the produce. So when the bees are the other insects are not there, so you can see the quality. Look at the quality. So when it is pollinated by the bees, so you can look at the very the quality of the fruit. So similarly, bee pollinated one are very bell peppers are very good in quality and coloration, and these ones are non pollinated by the bees. So in a cucurbit crop, it is very important. These bees are very important because if bees are not there, you'll get a poor quality produce. So in cucurbits, it's very important, and in berries also. So if bees are not there, so there will not be setting up of the berries. So you just imagine. So if these are not there, the quality and quantity of the produce will be greatly reduced. So this is the market with where the produce choice with the bees, where the fruits and vegetables they are getting pollinated by the bees, and this is without the bees. So you'll not be getting the diverse fruit because those who are self-pollinated can be will be there, but those with required bees will not be there. So this is the difference with the bees, and this is without the bees. So advantages of this bee pollination. So so we know there are more than 20,000 different species of the bees, and all they are involved in bee pollination. So one of the others crop will be getting by different species of the bees. So these bees improve the seed viability, and more nutritive and aromatic value will be there to the fruits, and increased vegetative growth and faster plant growth will be there. Increased nectar production will be there because they have to attract the different pollinators. Increased fruit set and reduced fruit drop will be there. Enhanced resistance to the diseases and pest will be there, and also to the adverse climatic conditions. Enhanced oil content in case of oilseed crops, and overall improvement in the crop yield. So these are the important benefits of the bee pollinations. So when it comes to the effect of bee pollination on the economy, so these are main pollinators of the plant, and global pollination economy value averaged 153 billion euros, which is worth 9.5 of the world's agricultural production of human food in 2005. So they are the major contributor. Nearly 10% of the world agricultural production to the human is coming from the bees. So benefits of the pollinators. So nearly 75% of the crops producing fruit and seeds, they get pollination from the bees. They increase the biodiversity. So apart from crop, they also are pollinating the other biodiversity. So there is an increase in biodiversity because of the pollinators, and increase food production and provide micronutrient rich foods, because the bee pollinated vegetables fruits will be rich in micronutrients, and they maintain the ecosystems. So these are the benefits of the bee pollination. So the next is bee conservation. This is very important because in few countries, mainly in North America and many European countries, there is sudden loss in the number of the colonies of the bees, and the causes can be many. The main challenges faced in bee pollination is the one is climate change. So, and the pesticide, fungicide, insecticide used on the crops, humidity, the honeybee diseases, and the ecosystem, like habitat, they are like clearing the forest and other things. So all these are contributing to the honeybee death, and this is called as colony collapse disorder. So suddenly the colony will be disappearing because of the one or the other reasons like climate change or pesticide, insecticide, and diseases. And there is a complex things, challenges involved. So that is leading to colony collapse disorder. So there is a sudden decrease in the bees number in many countries. And one of the main culprit is the pesticides. So these pesticides They are one of the culprits of the bee decline. Bee poisoning symptoms. So, excessive number of bees will be dead. Worker bees will be piling up in front of the hive. So you can see a lot of bees, dead bees in front of the hive. So that is the main symptom of bee poisoning. Apart from that, there will be paralysis. Bees will be roaming around the hives, so they are not very active. So these are some of the symptoms of the poisoning. And the mainly neonicotinoids, they are very dangerous to bees. So some of the other insecticides, paracetamol, carbaryl, imidacloprid. So these are very dangerous to bees. So which are also which are also leading to the corniculum disorders. So mainly the neonicotinoids. So few of the countries, they are banning the neonicotinoids just to safeguard the bees. So what we can do to safeguard these pollinators is we can select a low hazardous apiary location, and we can conduct several education programs to train the farmers and other persons involved and to educate them the hazardous chemicals, educate them which are causing more damage to the bees. And we can confine the bees inside the hive when we are spraying. Then moving bees outside the hazardous areas. So whenever we are spraying, we can just confine them inside the hive, or we can just move out of these bees to the other safer location. So we can also use low hazard materials, and method of application is also very important. Time of application is important. Formulation of the insecticide is important. And also we can use bee repellent so that they will not come to the flowers. So we should also remove the weeds because weeds will also will be contributing to the bee death. So you can also use selective insecticides, so which are safer to bees, and we can also go for using the IPM program. So this IPM programs will ensure the safety to bees. So we can select the good insecticide. We can choose the time of applications. Usually during the morning hours, early morning hours or late evening hours, bees will not be there on the flowers. So we can spray during that time. So by using different method of applications or different formulations, so we can just save the bees. And we instead of using more chemicals, we can switch over to botanicals. So which are more safer to bees compared to the other insecticide. Then follow the safety measures. Do not apply insecticide unless the crop is heavily infested. So it is unless and until it is heavily infested, do not go for using the insecticide. You can go botanical. You can use botanicals rather than using the insecticides. If the pest infestation is heavy to make the treatment, then only you go for using the insecticides. So choose the pesticide carefully, and any plant in bloom in and around. So that time we can shift the colonies to different areas. So these are the few safety measures which we can take to safeguard the bees. So we can choose the time, we can choose the method of application, we can choose the safer insecticides, and few of the other measures we should follow to safeguard the bees. So in conclusion, so these bee pollination provides a wide variety of benefits to humanity. So for example, they are contributing to the food processing, raw materials, and their supplying medicines, fibers, and social and cultural values are also there. And the one is maintaining the biodiversity, and they're also environmental protectors. And bee pollination has a direct effects on the profitability and productivity of global crop varieties, mostly vegetables, seeds, nuts, and some high value agricultural products such as coffee, cocoa, and rapeseed. So they also require bee pollination. So currently 5 to 8% of the global crop production would be lost without the pollination services provided by the bees. So this is a must action. So we should take some actions to safeguard these bees. So bees are not there, so 5 to 8% of the global production will be decreased. So which are mainly depending on these bees for pollinations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for an informative presentation. I will take up the questions from the participants now. In the meantime, can you please stop sharing the screen, ma'am? Okay. You can on your video, ma'am, or you wanted to be?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. I'll move on to the questions. How can farmers attract and provide a suitable habitat for bees on their farms?
There are some attractants available in the market, so that we can spray on the crop to attract the bees. And also we can provide safe nesting places, for example, trap nest, wood nest. So there, so that if you are placing those wood nest in the bees in the field, so bees will be coming to your crop. So we can use attractants. So we can spray that attractant to the crop, or else we can also make some suitable habitats for them to nesting.
Okay. And I get the next question, ma'am. Ma'am, your voice is breaking. Again, if your voice is breaking, I will off the camera from here, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, okay.
What are some simple and practical methods individuals can adapt to support bee populations in their gardens or urban spaces?
So one thing is some of the bee flora. You can just go for planting the bee flora. So there are some crops which are actually attracting the bee flora, so that you can plant in the garden. So few plants which are very which are having copious nectar and pollen that you can use. That those plants you can be used in the planting in the garden. The other one, as I said, you can make provision of suitable nesting sites like trap nest. So these are the some of the wood pieces with which are hollow inside. So you can place these wood pieces in your garden so that bees can come and nest in your garden. One is you can go for using the bee flora in your garden, or you can make suitable nesting places. So, for example, use of the trap nest or wood nest, so that you can increase their population in your garden.
Okay. How can agri entrepreneurs leverage bee pollination services to enhance their crop yields and quality?
So one thing is, so bee, for example, I told you several examples whenever they are using either honeybees or stingless bees or bumblebees to enhance the quality and production of the crop. For example, if sunflower is there, you can just keep 5 to 6 bee colony, bee boxes. So it is and by that you are ensuring bees will be there in your field, and the pollination will be there. More pollination will be there. There will be enhanced seed set in sunflower. So similarly, you can use nesting sites like trap nest in your field. So red gram, for example, in red gram field, you can use either bee boxes, bee colony, or you can use just to set up the that you can attract the bees and making ensuring that those bees will be there in the field to make pollination. So that then this vary with the crop. So number of placement of the bee colony vary with the plantation crop. It vary with the field crop. So wherever the dense crop is dense with the more flowers, so you can increase the number of the honeybee colony. Wherever the in plantation crops, you can go for using 2 or 3 colony. So you can just keep the colony and make ensure that bee are visiting the flowers and these flowers are getting pollinated. So in oil, they have made several research where if you keep these colonies in sunflower or some other oil crop, so they increase the quality, quantity, and oil content of the crop will also be increased. So it is sunflower, either it can be sunflower, beans, or the other apple fruit crops. So it depends on the crop which they are taking up and the species of the honeybee.
Okay. What are the different types of bees and their specific roles in crop pollination?
Different types. So I have told you there are 21 different species of the bees. The groups are honeybees, carpenter bees, bumblebees, and stingless bees, and the other solitary bees. So honeybees, they are more generalist. They are more generalist. So they will go to flowers and they involved in pollination of legumes, oilseed crops, and fruits and vegetables. So when it comes to bumblebees, so bumblebees we don't have in South India. So these bumblebees are there mainly in the Himalayan belt, Himachal Pradesh. We have Jammu and Kashmir. There they are using these bees, bumblebees for apple pollination in greenhouses. And coming to the carpenter bees, so these are also very effective pollinators of beans. But we are not using these bees in the full extent because it is very difficult to rear them and release in the field. So stingless bees they are using in Kerala. So we have different species of the stingless bee, more than 500 different species of the stingless bees. And these stingless bee colonies we can keep in field and it is the crop yield and quality. So solitary bees, because they are solitary, it is not possible to bring them into groups and release in the field. But they are the general pollinators which are involved in pollination. So we can use these bees for fruits, vegetables and cucurbits. It's very important for cucurbits to get pollinated by the bees, and oilseed crops and the legume crops. So for all these we require different species of bees.
Okay. Are there any specific bee-friendly practices or agricultural techniques that farmers and agri-entrepreneurs should adapt to promote effective pollination?
So some farm practices are one is when it comes to honeybees, you can maintain these colonies in your field, and there are some techniques in different seasons. So season wise, it depends. So how to maintain these bee colonies in winter season, in summer or in the other period, dearth period, whenever the flora is not available. So you have to provide the sugar solution and maintain the colony. So whenever in the honey flow period, so you have to remove the honey and leave little bit of honey for feeding to the remaining honeybees. So there are different techniques that how you should manage these honeybee colonies in summer, winter, and during rainy seasons. So during rainy and post rainy and winter season, you will be getting uh, antus amount of honey. So that time you have to harvest. But during summer, so there'll be a dearth period. So no much flora will be available in and around. So during that, you should not harvest the honey. If it is only too much, if it is only the super chamber is filled, that time only you should take it out. Otherwise, you should not harvest honey usually during the dearth period. So that's why you can just maintain the colony. So those colony you can use to your field, 2 to 4, or depending on the crop availability, you can use these colonies for crop pollination. So this is regarding to the honeybees. So the other bees, solitary bees. So because they are solitary, it is not possible to handle them. But one thing you can do is you make your garden or your field suitable for nesting. So by providing a trap nest or wood nest, so that they can make the nest inside the wood and they'll be living there. And one more thing is whenever you are going for taking up some control measures of the pest of your crop, you should follow the IPM practices, integrated pest management practices. And you should not go on spraying randomly, because while spraying, you should just close the door of the hive boxes and you give them sugar solution so that they should not go to the flowers directly and take the poison. And here also you should use safe insecticides, and whenever it is needed, then only you spray. And if you are spraying also, you should not spray during mid 9 or something. So before 8 o'clock or during late evening also, you can take up the spray so that the bees should not come in contact directly with the poisons. So you have to, if it is honeybee, you have to take up the different control measures during winter, summer, dearth period. And if it is solitary bee, and you have to provide the suitable nesting sites and also the flora, bee flora, which is if your crop is not in flowering stage, in that time they can just thrive on the weeds or the bee flora, which is available around, and the insecticide spraying on the crop. So these are the three important points you should remember. So while maintaining the bees.
Okay, I'll move to the next question, ma'am. What are the economic implications of using bees as pollinators for both farmers and agri entrepreneurs?
So as we discussed the importance, so bees, they are the main pollinators of our food crops. So nearly 87 food crops, which are very important to us worldwide, they are pollinated by the bees. And as we discussed, nearly $153 billion of that much of amount of money, which is contributed by the pollinators. And apart from this economic importance, so when we are taking up individually to the crop, so they enhance the quantity of the produce. So as we discussed in some of the slides, they increase the yield and they also increase the quality. For example, oil content of the produce. So in sunflower or safflower, they increase the quality, quantity. Seed production will also be more, and the bee pollinated one will be very healthy and colorful. And they also have um, um, increased amount of micronutrients. So that will be very beneficial for human diet. So these are the few important contributions made by the bees whenever they are pollinating the crops.
Okay. Are there any government initiatives or programs available to support farmers and agri entrepreneurs in implementing bee-friendly practices?
There are there, but they are not very commonly known to the people. So Honey Mission is the one which is promoted by the our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And in horticulture department also, they are giving frequent trainings on handling these bees and their importance in pollination. And they also provide horticultural departments. So they also provide you the colonies of the bees, 2 to 4 to the farmers to maintain them. Along with the bees, they will be giving. So apart from that, the agriculture universities, they are also frequently, agriculture department, frequently they are conducting trainings on beekeeping, use of these bees in the agriculture, pollination like that. So frequently there will be some trainings in the agriculture universities. Horticulture department and Honey Mission, National Bee Board have several, they're also providing several trainings to educate the farmers and agri entrepreneurs for knowing them the benefits of the bees. It can be a products, honey, wax, whatever the products we are getting from the apiculture industry, and also the use of these bees for the pollination. So National Bee Board is there, several product, Honey Mission is there, and the state in when it comes to state horticulture department, they are also conducting several trainings and providing the free honeybee colonies to the farmers.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. We have now completed the round of questions on behalf of agricultureinformation.com. We like to thank Dr. Arati Pannure for the talk and for answering the questions. I like to also thank all the participants in the meeting. This meeting will now be closed.